But do you think that if someone recognizes this system and says, okay, I have now cancer, that means there's a growth on my cell level and not on my human level. What would be the way to fight the cancer and to push the growth from the lowest cell level to the highest human level?
Start growing on the human level again. And then everything that happens on the lower levels, all these diseases on the lower level, be it obesity, be it cancer or anything else, has a chance of responding to, say, other remedies or just to disappear at all. No? There are examples where there is a spontaneous disappearance of diseases, such as even cancer. Often this is because this person changed their mental perspectives and changed things in their lives. Often because they brought in some growth on their human level. We see miracle healings. And these miracle healings can be understood if you see the big picture. Yeah. It's a question of the big picture. You have to understand that the principle of life is growth.
Yeah.
The purpose of a life form is to grow on its characteristic level, which for humans is mental. You have to understand that the principle of diseases and the principle of cancer is growth. So, and if you understand these principles, then you work with principles. And a good example is Ramana Maharshi. He was a saint. He was enlightened. At the age of 16, he had a near-death experience, which turned out to be an enlightenment. And then he went to the Mount Arunachala, where he stayed the rest of his life. He developed cancer and died from cancer at the age of 70. The question is why? Because he lived on this mountain, he had no pollution, he had no stress, he had great food, but he didn't grow anymore. He was enlightened. He had a life of, say, peace with no further growth. He was not hyperactive, he was not an athlete. So he didn't express this growth energy on the sensomotoric level. He didn't express it on the, say, plant level because he wasn't obese. He was very slim. So the only level that was available for his growth energy or his growth principle to show was the cell level. So it makes sense that Ramana Maharshi, even in the absence of any of those cancer-inducing parameters that we know, that he developed cancer very aggressively. He had 4 operations, and then the doctors said, we need to amputate your arm, and he said no. He didn't agree to this, so he died. And in contrast, Pablo Picasso, who was born pretty much the same time as Ramana Maharshi, I think 2 years later, he led a very, very unstable life. He smoked like a chimney. He drank a lot of alcohol. He spent nights and nights and nights in restaurants with his friends, worked endless hours overnight on his paintings. So a very unhealthy life. And he died at the age of 91 from a heart attack, which was a much nicer death.
Absolutely.
Picasso's life motto was to grow. He said, I'm always doing things that I cannot do in order to learn how to do them. So his life motif was growth.
Yeah.
So, and these 2 men are really wonderful examples of showing this idea that the principle of life is growth. It has to be expressed. If it's not expressed, there is a chance it expresses itself as cancer. Yeah.